This episode is brought to you by Farmers Insurance.
The headlines on RT International. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić puts the army on high alert and orders its units to move closer to the border with Kosovo, following clashes between members of Kosovo Special Forces and Serbians. A woman is killed as Ukrainian forces shell residential areas of Donetsk with US-supplied HIMARS rockets. It comes a day after 7 civilians, including 2 children, were wounded by Kiev's artillery in a neighboring town. Chinese special envoy says European countries should address the symptoms and causes of the Ukraine conflict. That's as Germany calls on China to influence Russia to withdraw. It's 8 p.m.
On and on. For 25 years, Consumer Cellular's goal has been to provide wireless service that helps people communicate and connect. We offer a variety of no-contract plans, and our U.S.-based customer service team can help find one that fits you. To learn more, visit consumercellular.tv.
Some things just make you feel more alive than others. Like the rush of adrenaline from an SUV that roars from 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Jaguar delivers that thrill every day. The F-Pace, how Jaguar makes an SUV.
Will Turkey ratify Sweden's NATO membership? Stockholm says it can't fulfill all Ankara's demands. As the bloc's membership requires unanimous approval, what would make Turkey change its mind? And what does all of this mean for NATO's future? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Mohammed Jamjoom. One of the many fallouts of Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been that previously neutral Nordic countries
So setting off here in the 2023 Integra. So the first thing you notice about this, well, you have a really nice low seat. I'm driving the Turbo S version here right now, and so this one has the inline-6 turbocharged engine, 3.3 liters, and it's very rare that a car has so many new things on it. You know, this is a brand new engine for Mazda, a brand new transmission for Mazda, a brand new platform and layout for Mazda. The engines are now longitudinal as well, and so many big changes. So the first thing you notice about this, well, you hear a nice inline-6 sound, and you know, it's something, if you're familiar with a BMW with an inline-6, you know, it has some familiar traits there for sure. Aside from the engine though, the other basic things you notice here in the CX-90. So first off, you know, it is a tiny bit wider and a tiny bit longer, but honestly it feels pretty similar to the size of the CX-9 from my recollection. It's been a couple of years since I drove a CX-9, but very, very similar, and visibility is really great, just like how it is in the CX-9. You know, you have a nice large windshield, nice thin A-pillars, great view out of the sides. You got the door mirrors there off onto the doors, not on the A-pillar, so great visibility there, and view out of the back is pretty good in typical three-row crossover fashion. And other things here, so you'll feel that the steering is a nice weight. Now, it doesn't change between different drive modes or anything. It's always just the one setting. Mazda likes setting things up for like one good setting. Same thing goes for like throttle response and stuff like that. But I mean, what you can say is just that it's just really direct feeling steering. This has a front steer setup, and I won't get into all the changes because there's 1,000,001 little changes here they made for this vehicle, but basically the steering rack setup, so you have better steering feel and just better overall performance from the steering as well. And so it just means you have really great steering, but I also like, it feels a little lighter than the CX-50 to me, which I think was a little too heavy for my personal taste. It was a little overboard for a crossover, I think. This really seems to be the sweet spot. It really feels so good. Other things here, throttle response is good and quick for the most part. Now, one thing though, I'm leaning on the brakes here now. The brakes have the very Mazda feeling brake pedal, where they are a firm believer in not having your shin muscle do the braking, but instead have your stronger other, calf muscles do that braking for you instead. And so what it means is that you have a pretty firm brake pedal, and you do have to put a little bit more muscle into it, but it's a brake pedal that's very easy to be smooth with as a result, because it doesn't bite down super quick or anything, but it's also not going to be razor sharp with its responses like you might be expecting out of a BMW or something like that sometimes have some pretty touchy brakes. These ones aren't super touchy, but they feel really good. And of course, they're nice strong brakes too. 13.7-inch rotors up front here, especially on the higher trims. The lower trims go down a little bit because of the smaller wheels, I believe. Cruising around though at some elevated back roads kind of speeds here. Effortless amounts of power. This motor is so buttery smooth, and you don't feel any kind of weirdness from the turbo. It almost feels naturally aspirated, honestly, and just feels really strong here. I'm excited to push it once you get onto a back road, but for right now, it's just a really nice thing, and it's also nice and quiet. You can hear, I'm up to 50 miles per hour now. Really quiet, really smooth. This road is pretty nice and smooth here, but really refined, and yeah, I'm just really impressed. Obviously, Mazda's going for the premium thing here with the CX-90, and they're trying to even, elevate themselves beyond the regular mainstream SUV competitors in this segment, but it's certainly, I'd say, probably easily the quietest one from my recollection, without any kind of scientific testing, but it just feels really nice and quiet. So solid in here too, and the way that it soaks up bumps and just goes over everything, it really is so nice. There's no adaptive dampers or anything on any of these CX-90s. They all just have one good setup once again for the suspension. And the suspension, that's another thing here, because they were able to go to the longitudinal engine, that gave them more room in the front there for suspension geometry. There's additional camber there, and also what it means is that you have a smaller turning circle than the CX-9, so maneuverability will actually be much better here compared to the CX-9 as a result. So it's not a drastic thing. It's not like you have four-wheel steer or anything like that, but it still is going to be a nice improvement because, again, they just had more to work with. Same thing in the rear there. It's better handling. It puts the power down better. It's better for towing, all those things. This motor with the Turbo S here, you can tow 5,000 pounds. The plug-in hybrids are going to be 3,500 pounds. All the things just get improved whenever you go to this rear-biased all-wheel drive system. Now, here in the States, we only get all-wheel drive systems for these vehicles, so it just means that you're going to have very confident traction. It does put power to all four wheels, depending on the load and the setup and the kind of driving conditions you're in. But I put it up into sport mode here, and let's turn down onto this back road and see how it does. Here we go. All right, took it a second. Listen to that. Oh, it sounds really nice. Very good sound from this inline six. Yeah. That's awesome. So it's a really unique sound. It doesn't sound just like any other inline six. It's got its own unique tone and feels really good. So it's a 3.3-liter inline six turbocharged engine. It has 340 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque here in these top Turbo S versions, and that's on 93 or 91 octane gas. Whenever you go down to the 87 octane, which it can run totally fine, and you just knock you down to 319 horsepower instead. And so it's a very good amount of power, and so the plug-in hybrid also will match that power on regular gas, and whenever you put premium in that, it's only 323 horsepower, but that'll match the torque identically at 369 pound-feet in that one as well. And then in the lower versions, you'll get the same motor here, but it just runs less boost, so it does 280 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. And there's no 0 to 60 times listed for any of these motors. Mazda doesn't really like talking about 0 to 60 times. They prefer to focus more on the G that you feel whenever you accelerate. But it's very, very quick. I'd say, my guesstimate here, just seat of the pants, is it's somewhere, around a 6-second 0 to 60, something like that. And I actually did drive the plug-in hybrid hybrid earlier this morning, and I will say that with the electric punch feels a little stronger off the bat. You'll see that reaction in a minute here, but driving this one after that, I think that actually feels a little faster from a dig, but then this one has a really nice amount of power delivery here in these upper RPMs especially. But yeah, and so it's running through this 8-speed automatic transmission. This is a brand new Mazda transmission they built in-house, and this transmission is interesting. So it uses a wet clutch, so there's no torque converter, but this transmission is a multi-clutch type of situation. There is various clutches, and it's planetary, and it's got a bunch of stuff. It's similar to the 6-speed automatic that Mazda used to have, and still uses in other products, but has obviously some other changes and improvements. They throw in the torque converter, which also gives you more interior space here because it's a very compact design for this new transmission. And so as far as the performance of it goes here, I'd say it's nice and responsive. I'd say that reaction times and feeling are actually pretty similar to the 6-speed. And so if you're familiar with, like the 6-speed and the CX-9, you will probably be pretty familiar with the way this transmission is going to probably react. It's very similar tuning, in my opinion, with the way they set that up. And we'll go ahead and try some manual shifts. We do have some traffic here, so I'm not going to be able to go crazy, but all right, we're in first. And just doing like half throttle stuff. Okay, now we got some traffic opening up here. We'll go down to second. See, a little slow with the downshift. This is, again, a 3-row family crossover, so I'm not expecting sports car performance, but if you are someone who's used to like BMW shift times and there's the F8 speeds, this is slower when you're doing manual shifts. Probably a small subset of people actually even use these paddle shifters, but if you are one of those people, just know that the shift times are being pretty similar to the other Mazda products with the 6-speed automatic, just the way that it feels to me here. But it's a really nice transmission, and one great thing about it is you have this 48-volt mount hybrid system hooked up to it, and that also runs through the transmission. Everything goes through the transmission still, even the plug-in hybrid, all that stuff is all funneled through the transmission for those electric motors. But here with this one, I believe they said it's like a 17 horsepower little 48-volt motor, and so basically that just provides you with extended stop starting, some coasting, things like that. So, very mild as far as this one goes. If you want the full hybridized thing, you're going to have to go for the plug-in hybrid. But the important thing, though, to note is when you see that there's no torque converter, you might be nervous, like, oh no, does it feel like a dual clutch in traffic with the way, inching up and things like that. But it's not unsmooth in my experience so far, and I'll keep an eye out for it during the rest of my drive here this afternoon. But it seems to be really smooth, just as smooth as a normal torque converter automatic. All right, so now we've got some good corners here coming up. We can test out the suspension a little more. And one thing with this wheelbase being 7.5 inches longer than the CX-9 gives you a much more stable and planted feel just right off the bat. And also, one cool thing is they also transferred over the kinematic posture control technology that was originally introduced last year on the Miata. That now is present here on the CX-90. So what that will do is break an inside rear wheel in order to give you a little bit of a better handling feel and a little bit of better cornering. And so on these corners here, got some nice high speed limits too, and we got a tight one coming up here in a minute. But we'll be able to test out the curb weight because here for the Turbo S versions, one of these fully loaded ones is 4,899 pounds, so basically 4,900 pounds. All right, so now we got some really nice side corners coming up. We can really push this a little more and see how it feels. And it feels really, really nice. Now, obviously, you do feel the weight. You are in a large vehicle. There's no mistaking that. This isn't going to feel like an Alfa Romeo Stelvio or anything like that because this is a lot bigger and heavier. But as far as, 3-row crossovers go, again, I think it is top notch. And it's just crazy that I'm able to keep the pace that I'm keeping here in this thing. And I'm not second guessing myself one bit. It's just doing it all without any kind of issue. And these brakes feel great too as I lean on those a little bit. But I don't even really need to use the brakes much because it does everything I'm asking of it. And even like that was a little bit of a quick transition there, and it's just still so well controlled. And I'm just gonna probably keep talking over and over about the same stuff, but it really, you gotta take this thing on some nice corners to really appreciate this new platform and this new setup. And with this engine too, it's so buttery smooth. It just gives you power everywhere in the RPM band. It has a 6,500 RPM red line here, but it's so meaty, obviously, you don't even need to rev it out really. It just gives you power everywhere, and you're never waiting for a turbo. Honestly, I cannot even tell you know, where the turbo boost is even filling in. You do also have a little bit of an electric fill-in that they're doing behind the scenes a little bit, you know, with the 48 volt system, but it's very, very mild. You do feel more of that in the plug-in hybrid for sure. Some other things that help in handling are a 2-inch wider track roughly compared to the CX-9. So that's going to also give you some extra handling chops. You also, by the way, have 275 wide tires here on these upper trims. They go down to 265s on the lower trims, but here for these higher trims, most of the trims have 275s here, just normal like crossover tires. So I mean, even if you had a sporty tire on this, I think it'd be even better. But you know, even just with ordinary tires, it's just the fact you have this platform that is just so good. Okay, so that was actually a little bit wet, and I was punching it coming out of the corner, and I mean, totally no issues with traction or anything. Did a really good job putting the power down there. And I also like that in sport mode here, the transmission is figuring out, you know, it's seeing the higher G's and figuring out that I want some higher RPMs because I'm doing some dynamic driving, and so it's giving me those right, you know, more aggressive gear setup and, you know, holding these gears. Man. Yeah, and this is, you know, got a lot of undulations and off-camber bits and things like that, and it is still just slicing and dicing here in a 3-row crossover. It's almost 5,000 pounds. I cannot believe it. But yeah, this is really impressive. Man, this is the advantage you get of going to this kind of platform. This is the kind of stuff that Acura and them wish they could do. And I don't know how Mazda justified this new platform from a cost standpoint. It was not cheap, I'm sure, to do a brand new engine, brand new platform, completely switching, you know, the direction of the engines and everything else. I mean, so many big, expensive changes, and they justify it, and I gotta just take my hat off to them because it certainly makes for an impressive vehicle that I think is gonna become the benchmark for definitely everything else that this competes with, and even the stuff that's way more expensive than this. You know, it's gonna be just really an interesting homework assignment for all the other car companies, I think, about what you can do. Oh man, this is impressive. Okay, so I actually felt, I think, the kinematic posture control there, because it was, I could feel that it was giving me some extra little assistance there when I needed it, punching it out of that one corner there. But it is, yeah, if you're an enthusiast, like Cliff Notes, if you're an enthusiast, just get one of these. Don't even crush up any of the other stuff, because I can tell you, everything else that I've experienced, at least, that even is close to the same price as this, and even stuff that's way more expensive, does not feel as good as this. It's not even close. This is like an easy win for the Mazda, in my opinion. Not even a tough competition at all in my mind. Hands down, best thing. And I mean this engine too. I mean, even if you go for the base version of the inline six, you're getting an inline six with a turbo, way more power, you know, as far as torque goes, even with that base motor compared to all the others this competes with, even in the mainstream segment. This engine is really snugged up right up against that firewall there, and it's not far off from being front mid-engine with just how far back it is, and that's partially thanks to this unique automatic transmission and the way that they're able to design that. But you know, even if you're just going for a normal people hauler, you know, people carrier, this is going to have just such more refinement because you have this platform and the way they space things out and the weight distribution and everything. It's just going to be so much better in all the ways. And so regardless of, you know, how much of an enthusiast you are, it's either, no matter how you cut it, it's going to be the superior choice, whether it's luxury or after refinement, comfort, or the dynamic thing. It does it all, and does it all better, I can say, than basically everybody. Alright, so setting off here in the plug-in hybrid version of the CX-90. So I'm starting off in electric mode here, and so this allows me to test out the electric range here. It does state about 26 miles of electric range, I believe, and so as far as the electric version goes here, I mean, it feels really nice in this electric mode. It will be pretty dedicated to basically staying in electric mode unless you hit the little kickdown button there on the very bottom of the gas pedal when you're totally floored. That will kick you out of that EV mode and then put you back into normal mode. So you have to make sure that you go back in and then manually select EV mode again to put yourself back in that electric mode. But once you're in that electric mode, as long as you're not going totally flat to the floor, you know, otherwise it's going to give you a good bit of punch here. It's about 160 horsepower or so for the electric motor whenever you're just using that on its own. And also brake pedal, I have to say, nice and responsive here when you come up to a stop. There isn't any kind of weirdness with the regen or anything. And even though these versions weigh like 5250, I believe, for the curb weight, I mean, it still is pretty sprightly for the amount of power it's working with. And I'm able to do some really nice aggressive acceleration here in the fully electric mode, and it's able to do that, you know, really, really well. So I think it's a really well done electric mode. Whenever you are in the normal mode, though, it will still display whenever you are in EV mode, and you know, it'll still prioritize the battery, but that has a lower threshold in normal mode, and it will kick on the gas engine if you go beyond a certain point, which you will see on your power meter there. It will show you how far you can go before that gas engine gets requested. And also, if you're a little too quick with your throttle tip in that normal mode, then it will kick on the gas engine, you know, pretty readily there. But in the electric mode here, though, it really does do a good job of sticking with that, you know, electric power. And of course, it's so nice and quiet here. But we're coming off some corners here, and so I'm going to go ahead and put it into the sport mode, actually, and this will kick on the gas engine as well as, you know, giving you that electric boost to give you the maximum performance. I love how it changes the gauges as well here, so you have a much sportier look. And then you can really feel that electric motor filling in, giving you, it says on the gauge cluster here too, and again that goes into that boost mode there, but it's really nice power here. So with the plug-in hybrid version, you run Mazda's familiar 2.5 liter naturally aspirated Skyactiv 4-cylinder, but it's in a longitudinal setup here with this new platform again. And so because of that, you know, it's a little bit of a different, you know, orientation, but as far as the power goes, it does about the same amount of power as it does in the other naturally aspirated applications with Mazda. But combined with that electric motor, all total, you have 323 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, it really is a strong combination of power here. I'm not wanting for power whatsoever, even again with the you know, heavy weight here of the plug-in hybrid and everything. It's really impressive. And by the way, this battery pack is a 17.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack. It's also important to note that whenever you are in the electric mode, it is still providing power to all four wheels. And even if you run out of power from the electric motor, you're still going to have all-wheel drive. So unlike some of the others that have just an e-motor and there's no real connection, this has a physical connection to all four wheels, so you can always power all four wheels regardless of whether in electric mode, in gas mode, or in the hybrid mode. And that electric power does run through that 8-speed automatic as well. But anyway, we got some sweeping corners here coming up, and it just, oh man, I love the way this thing handles though. I mean, Mazda, I shouldn't be surprised. You know, they make some of the best driving vehicles in the segments that they compete in, and this is really no different. Body roll is very well controlled, and everything just feels so confidence-inspiring. And I actually, the first time I went around in the very first corner in this, I was like, huh, this thing actually, it's really tight with the body control, like more than I was expecting out of a 3-row crossover. And despite that extra weight though, the plug-in hybrids have the same brakes as the regular CX-90, so you have 13.7-inch rotors here on these upper trims. Again, those lowest trims, I believe, go down to a slightly smaller brake there in the front, but they all just, you know, have plenty of braking action here. But let's turn down onto this back road here and see how it does. And just leaving it in sport and drive, here we go. Oh man, made my water bottle fall out of the cup holder there. Wow. And listen to that engine, that little 4-cylinder sounds really good. Wow, yeah, it is an impressive amount of power here in this thing. So there's really no compromise, honestly, aside from the different sound. But other than that, I mean, it's a different character, but with this electric motor being so strong, and that 2.5 gas engine always being a nice, torquey, strong motor on its own, I love how it's so eager feeling too, especially here in sport mode. But it just feels so good in all the modes here, honestly. I'm just so impressed with the way this thing drives. And once the battery is depleted, it will always leave about a mile of range left in there, so that it will give you some electric boost still if you need that, and always wants to keep that in reserve. But otherwise, it'll just be like any other hybrid where, you know, whenever you're letting off the gas and slowing down, things like that, it can kick off the gas engine, go back to that electric mode, but then you don't have any actual electric propulsion, again, until you either charge the battery with the charge mode or by plugging it in. But because it keeps that reserve of electric power, it means that even whenever you do run out of electric battery power here, it still has plenty of punch, even though you are just running, you know, a 4-cylinder engine here. You know, again, if you put your foot to the floor, that boost still does come on and give you that extra oomph. But otherwise, you know, this engine is still totally sufficient for normal commuting, and even if you're just using that engine, it still doesn't feel slow at all. I also have to add that whenever you're just cruising on the highway in the plug-in hybrid, it really is nice and quiet, especially if you can keep it in that electric mode, which it can do totally fine. We're doing 64 miles per hour right now, and you know, we're even climbing a hill, and it's just using the electric motor here, and it's so nice and quiet. It doesn't hold the lane, and it's a little tricky to tell when it's actually...
Well, that depends on what your needs are. If you need enough cargo room for a refrigerator, the ability to tow a horse trailer, and 4-wheel drive, these are not the vehicles for you. But if you just need reliable, economical transportation with a dash of fun, then one of our crowd of compact sedans could be your next automobile. We'll start out with the most eagerly anticipated member of our group, the all-new 2001 Honda Civic. More stylish, but actually a hair smaller outside than last year, the new Civic has significant changes that belie its conservative styling. A new platform and McPherson strut suspension push the wheels further out to the corners. This allows the typically efficient, now Accord-styled cabin to grow. You really notice the extra room in the rear seat with its flat floor and almost 2-inch gain in legroom. Trunk space also jumps to 12.9 cubic feet. To motivate America's favorite small cars are larger 1.7-liter 4-cylinder engines. DX and LX trim ratings are 115 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque. Our EX VTEC delivers 127 horsepower and 114 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is excellent at 32 city and 37 highway. That's with the slick new 5-speed manual transmission that allowed runs to 60 in 8.4 seconds. Handling is typically Civic, hardly race-ready but quite competent with crisper steering than before. Ride is much improved. However, brake feel was not very consistent from run to run, but stops from 60 averaged a stable 130 feet. ABS is standard on the EX. All in all, the roomy Civic, while a bit short on personality, remains a high-quality, solid performer. Civic prices start at $13,400 for the DX sedan, and EX, like our test car, costs $17,350. So Civic is a solid value as well. To challenge the Civic's popularity, Nissan has released an all-new Sentra for 2001. Looking much like its big brother, the Maxima, the new Sentra is larger and more refined than ever before. It also boasts more power. Our top-line SE-grade test car packed a 2-liter twin-cam 4-cylinder that makes 145 horsepower and 136 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is rated at 24 city and 31 highway, the Group Low. But with a firm shift 5-speed manual, Sentra hits 60 in 8.3 seconds, a hair quicker than Civic. Handling, however, is a full step above the Civic's. It's sharp and precise despite a twist beam rear axle. Brakes performed well too, averaging 115 feet from 60. But unlike Civic EX, ABS is optional. Out on the road, the Sentra, like the Civic, delivers a more refined ride than one expects in this class, feeling far more mid-sized than compact. The Sentra's interior is trendy, very attractive, and well laid out, but some of the plastics were low rent. The Sentra is smaller inside than Civic. Most notable is the 2 inches less rear legroom. That's important for commuters. And the 11.6 cubic foot trunk also comes up short against the Civic. Pricing, however, beats the Honda hands down. The base Sentra XC starts at $12,169, while our SE test car starts at $15,419. In sum, the 2001 Nissan Sentra has sharp looks and handling and the refinement of a larger car at very reasonable prices. If, however, you prefer something with real spunk, check out the Dodge Neon RT. Derived from the Neon ACR production racer, the RT delivers race-ready hardware and a stylish package that screams youthful enthusiasm. The RT's 2-liter Magnum single-cam 4-cylinder pumps out 150 horsepower and 135 pound-feet of torque, making it the most out is clean and direct, although the optional CD changer is somewhat awkward tucked up under the dash. The rear seat is just plain big, as is the 13.1 cubic foot trunk. Neon sedan prices start at $13,275. But if you want the fun of the RT, add another $4,430 for a total of $17,705. Not a bad price for a flashy, if rough, little pocket rocket. Ford is providing the highest volume domestic small car competition in the form of their European-designed Focus, our Motor Week Driver's Choice small car pick for the 2000 model year. Already a hit with buyers, Focus sedans like our ZTS test car have earned praise for their solid feel, brisk performance, and youthful, edgy styling. The ZTS is powered by Ford's 2-liter dual overhead cam ZTEC 4-cylinder that makes 130 horsepower and 135 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is 25 city and 34 highway. And that's with the somewhat notchy standard 5-speed manual gearbox that allowed sprints to 60 in 7.8 seconds, the quickest of the bunch. With its all-independent suspension, the Focus has the same fun-to-toss-around personality as the Neon, but with a more refined feel. While standard ABS-equipped brakes stop the ZTS from 60 and an average of 123 feet, with excellent pedal feel and rock-solid stability. Inside the Focus, the emphasis is on the intelligent use of space. It's roomy with a standard height-adjustable driver's seat. The dash design is overly trendy, and we could do without the fake wood, but it is well laid out. The front seats feel rather hard and flat, however, when compared to those of its competitors. As in the Neon, rear seat room is generous, as is the Civic matching 12.9 cubic foot trunk. Focus sedan prices start at $14,505 for the SE model. If you want a ZTS like our test car, it'll run you at least $15,725. But if you haven't found your favorite yet, then there's always the Toyota Corolla in new S trim. A sportier trim sedan with freshened exterior styling, the S is trying to shake Corolla's geriatric image and tune in to the youth that buy small cars. Inside, however, the S is still the familiar Corolla, competent but uninspired with a few sporty accents to perk it up. And the rear seat room is the smallest of the group, while the trunk measures a usable 12.1 cubic feet. Power comes from a smooth 1.8-liter twin-cam 4, which makes 125 horsepower and 125 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is highly rated at 31 city and 38 highway. But with the standard 5-speed manual, Corolla took 9.2 seconds for the S to reach 60, making it the slowest of our lot. Also, while the S may look sporty, handling is strictly economy car with lots of front push and body roll. Braking, even with the optional ABS, fares no better with long stops averaging 143 feet. Out on the road, the Corolla S has a solid Toyota feel, but the ride was clunky and there was more interior noise than its competitors. But let's not forget, this car does have legendary Toyota quality and dependability, and at a modest cost. The Corolla CE sedan starts at $13,023. The Corolla S carries a base price of $13,248. But while it's one of the cheapest of our group, its standard equipment list is also the weakest. So while bigger may be better to many buyers, our 5 compact 4-doors prove that there's still a lot of good things in small packages. While the new Civic remains strong, the Corolla's shine is fading. Both the sharper Sentra and well-balanced Focus are real challengers, and the Neon is simply fun. And they are all, as we said before, easy to drive, easy to park, and easy to pay for. And after testing them all, we find that they're all easy to like as well.
Called mayors in the 4 municipalities, now they want to take over government buildings by force. Serbs, of course, are resisting this and have put up a peaceful demonstration in front.
All right, so now let's test out the dual stereo speakers. We're going to start off with the Poco F5. And of course, I got the official Flossie Carter sound test by my homeboy Mark Rebier. Here we go.
Yo, sound test, time for sound test. Everybody shut your mouth, time for sound test. Time to test that quality of sound test. How's it sound, Floss? How's it sound, Floss? How's it sound now? How's it sound now? Does it sound big? Does it sound loud? How's the bass, baby? How's the treble?
I'm going to cover up the bottom. This is just the top. Nice and loud. You can feel the bass shaking. Excellent speakers for under $400. Now, for the Poco F5 Pro, same thing.
Yo, sound test, time for sound test. Everybody shut your mouth, time for sound test. Time to test that quality of sound test. How's it sound, Floss? How's it sound, Floss? How's it sound now? How's it sound now?
Maybe a slightly bit louder. Let's cover up the bottom. Here's the top. The top speaker sounds a little louder. But they pretty much sound the same. I would say the speakers sound great on both of these devices. All right, so now let's take a look at the displays. Now remember, with the F5 Pro, you're getting a higher resolution. Let me start these at the same time. See if you can notice the difference. It's a little bit brighter with your F5 Pro. Full screen. You see the difference in the brightness? Now with your F5, Nice viewing angles on this. F5 Pro. Better viewing angles. Okay. Both look great though. Let's keep it moving. All right, so let's try a little gaming. Now we got Asphalt 9 queued up. We're gonna start off with the Poco F5. Here we go. All right. Shoes just popped up. Shoes be trying to make me lose these games. All right, here we go. Okay, no lag. Running nice and smooth. Do a little 360. Let's hit that ramp. Look how the game is running. If you're buying this phone for a little kid, this is what they're going to be doing, and they're going to be loving it. Okay, now let's switch over to the F5 Pro. I will say the speakers definitely sound a little bit better now that I'm paying a little closer attention. Okay, back up, my bad. Back up. Let me get to that ramp. Let me get that ramp. I'm going to try the 360 land. I'm going to try the 360 land. There it goes. There it is. No lag at all. Let me get a W real quick. And there it is. Okay? So you're getting more features with the cameras on the F5 Pro. All right, so take a look at these test pictures and videos for yourself. We're going to start off with the Poco F5. All right, talk amongst yourselves. All right, so before we check the sound quality, let's take a look at the lights. Now, you got two different colors. You got campfire and soft white. So we're going to start off with campfire. I'm going to use the wheel on the top. This is minimum brightness. Okay, so it kind of looks like a lantern. Now let's increase it more, a little bit more. And here's max brightness. Look at that. This is nice and bright. Now watch this. I'm going to turn it down some. Now let's switch over to soft white. And this is if you want even more light. Here's maximum brightness. Now I'm sitting down here in complete darkness, and you can actually see it's lighting up the room. If I wanted to read something, I could easily read it. Now, depending on the size of your space, you might want to get two of these, and look how much more light you get. Now, if I had these on the speaker stand and it was nice and high, it would look like this. Okay, so the lights, beautiful. All right, so here's how you control the lights. You see that little light button on the top? You just press it once. That's going to turn it on. Now you can cycle between soft white and campfire. Now you use the wheel on the top to make it brighter or dimmer. And if you want to turn it off, just long press on the light button. Just that simple. Now, if you want to use the speaker as a power bank, all you got to do is power it up, plug in a USB-A cable, grab your device, plug it in. Now, to pair up the speaker, real simple. You're just going to hold down the mode button for about 2 seconds. You're going to hear a little beep. That's going to put the speaker in Bluetooth pairing mode. Go to your phone's Bluetooth menu and select the Me for Wild Camping. All right, so let's play some music. Now, I'm going to start off at 50% volume. Here we go. Let's increase to maximum volume. Now, no matter which way it's facing, everybody's going to hear the music the same. Let's try another song. All right, so now let's check the buttons for play and pause. One press. Now, if you want to skip to the next song, long press.
Shout out to the Google gangster.
If you want to go to the previous track, double press. And you got volume up and down.
Travelers.
That's max volume.
Shout out to the
Volume
Google
low.
gangsters. Yo, feel like floss with this new tech.
All of the buttons work. All right, so now let's try True Wireless Stereo. Now remember, you can pair up to 100 speakers. So you just go to the first speaker, hold down the True Wireless Stereo button.
TWS pairing.
Do the same thing on the second speaker.
TWS pairing. TWS connected.
Just that simple. Now let's play some music. All right, so I got the official Flossy Carter sound test by my homeboy Mark Rebier. Now I'm going to start off at 50% volume with 2 speakers paired together. Here we go.
Yo, sound test, time for sound test. Everybody shut your mouth, time for sound test. Time to test that quality of sound test. How's it sound, Floss? How's it sound, Floss? How's it sound now? How's it sound now? Does it sound big? Does it sound loud? How's the bass, baby? How's the treble on it? How's it sound now? How's it sound now? That's a sound test.
Now so let's run it back at maximum volume. Here we go.
Yo, sound test, time for sound test. Everybody shut your mouth, time for sound test. Time to test that quality of sound test. How's it sound, Floss? How's it sound, Floss? How's it sound now? How's it sound now? Does it sound big? Does it sound loud? How's the bass, baby? How's the treble on it? How's it sound now? How's it sound now? That's a sound test. That's a motherfucking sound test. Sound test. That's a sound test, baby. That's a sound test. That's a motherfucking sound test. How's the sound on that shit? God damn it, holla. How's the sound, white shoes? How's the sound on it? That's a sound, baby. That's a sound test.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Rebier. Let's get and wrap this video up. All right.
It's one of the cars on the Hot Ones packaging. It's the Spoiler Sport from Hot Wheels. In the awesome retro The Hot Ones series, the Spoiler Sport captures everything that reminds me of the 1970s Hot Wheels. This is a vehicle that needs to be made in real life, and I'm sure many of you have seen those Honda Odyssey commercials where they're trying to sell minivans to men by making them look cooler, which they're not. But this is. Not that I really have anything against the Odyssey, but Honda should have just licensed this design from Hot Wheels, because this is the manliest minivan ever. It looks like it belongs in Logan's Run or THX 1138, and that makes it cool. The paint job makes it even cooler, reaching a level of coolness that adds a third O to cool. It's cool. And did you catch a glimpse of the interior? This proper sport could easily cut through a giant block of cheese while driving at high speeds because of the spoiler on the back. And it has skylights to help illuminate whatever illicit activities are taking place inside. This is a van that comes a-rockin'. It's the Spoiler Sport from Hot Wheels.
Recognize the admission of Finland and Sweden to NATO, because we all know that, looking from an historical perspective, NATO members have brought their national issues to the...
So let's stir it up. When Acura officials set their sights on improving the 3.2 CL for 2003, 2 goals were clear right from the start: to enhance the styling with an aggressive look and to increase the performance quotient of this sport luxury coupe to match that look. To meet the former, mostly tweaks were the order. Both the CL and new CL Type S get a bolder grille with body color surround and revised headlights with black accents. In the rear are slightly redesigned taillights and new exhaust tips. There are also new 6-spoke 16-inch alloy wheels on the CL and 17-inch on the Type S. Nothing earth-shaking. After all, we're talking about Honda here. Of more interest to us was how Acura engineers met the second goal. As we mentioned earlier, unlike the four-door TL Type S, the CL Type S is now available with a close ratio 6-speed manual transmission. The TL's 5-speed sequential sport shift automatic is available for the same MSRP, and we admit the 6-speed is not for everyone. The shift linkage stirs fairly lightly, and with a dual-mass flywheel, it's vibration-free. But the 6-speed's clutch is an acquired taste. With little more than an inch of play at the bottom, it was as though the mere thought of releasing it would launch you away, or worse, stall you where you sat. But our most determined staff discovered that with a little patience, 60 could be reached in a scant 5.9 seconds, and the quarter mile in a pretty hot 14.5 seconds at 96 miles per hour. In the 6-speed Type S, Acura engineers have replaced the car's electronic vehicle stability assist program with a mechanical helical limited slip differential that really hooks up. Plus, 2 new hydraulic engine mounts counter fore and aft engine movement under hard throttle. On the downside, there is a bit more wheel hop and torque steer present under a hard launch than with the automatic. Providing the punch for the CL Type S is an all-aluminum 3.2-liter single-cam 24-valve variable valve timing V6. The VTEC V6 is the same used in the TL Type S. Output peaks at 260 horsepower at 6,100 RPM and 232 pound-feet of torque available from 3,500 to 5,500 RPM, making it one of the most powerful engines in its class. The CL Type S's beefy and finely tuned double wishbone suspension also benefits from the new limited slip differential, ensuring that consistent power and traction is available for exiting turns. The result is a CL Type S that is among the flattest and most neutral handling front drivers we've ever tested. The CL felt very athletic when run through our low-speed slalom, and even more when pushed hard, exhibiting little more than a mild touch of understeer. The variable speed-sensitive power rack and pinion steering is smooth and quick and provides a healthy amount of feedback. The 215/50R 17-inch Michelin MXM4 tires also helped with superb grip, and on switchback roads, there's just enough body roll to keep the car's side-to-side transitions from feeling harsh. When cruising, the CL Type S delivers a ride that is a near-perfect balance between sport and luxury. It's a ride and handling package that gives its more expensive German competitors a serious run for their money. Its four-wheel disc ABS-equipped braking system with 11-inch rotors, vented in the front, solid in the rear, delivers excellent braking performance too. We average stops from 60 and 120 feet. After 8 rub are also covered in hides. Then there's the Bose audio system that includes in-dash cassette and 6-disc CD changer with 6 speakers. And to keep you comfy no matter what the weather, a fully automatic climate control system with a Micron air filtration system. In fact, the only option available is a DVD-based GPS navigation system that includes GM's OnStar emergency locator and advisor system. You'll also be hard-pressed to find any car with this much to offer for the price. Base sticker on the 2003 Acura 3.2 CL Type S with the 6-speed manual is $31,050. Our tester with the nav system goes out the door for $33,200. That's not a whole lot of money when you stir in its mostly German competition. And when you add Acura's reputation for quality and reliability, the 2003 Acura 3.2 CL Type S is a total sport luxury coupe value that's tough, if not impossible, to beat. I hope you'll join us next week for more Motor Week, when we'll test the Saturn Vue Compact Sport Ute and Jaguar's S-Type R Sports Sedan. I'm John Davis. We'll see you then.
To learn more about Motor Week, television's original automotive magazine, visit PBS online at pbs.org or America Online, keyword PBS. To order a video cassette of this program, call 1-800-422-0064. Motor Week has been brought to you by Pep Boys. No matter what you drive, Pep Boys has over 27,000 items in stock, virtually any part for any car, with all the name brands you know. Plus service bays staffed with ASE certified technicians. Pep Boys, parts, tires, accessories, service. And by
What are you looking for? eBay Motors.
Those buildings not allowing those government officials to enter, because they have no right to be
platform of the alliance whenever any particular topic came to the agenda.
Let's to thank one of our sponsors, Farmers Insurance.
I've seen this movie before.
You have?
Sure. This is the part where all is lost and the hero searches for hope. Then a mysterious figure reminds her that she has the Farmer's Home Policy Perk guaranteed replacement cost, and that her home will be rebuilt regardless of her limits or if the cost of materials has gone up.
That's really something.
Get a whole lot of something with Farmer's Policy Perks. Wait, I didn't ruin the ending, did I?
Yeah, you did.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.